Let me introduce to you our final presenter and finalist today. First, I want to thank our generous sponsor, First National Bank, for being our venture capitalist sponsor this afternoon. We could not do it without them. 5280 Prosthetics is our last finalist. Come on up here, guys. You'll have 15 minutes to present. This company will improve the lives of amputees through a new generation of products, and this is really kind of cool because it enables the prosthetics that you see here on the table to communicate directly with their users. They use a smart puck that will relay critical data that can help improve the fit, the function, and the overall health of the person who is using it. I'm going to let these fine gentlemen explain. This is Doug Wilson, and I'll let you introduce your partner too, and I'll let you guys talk for 15 minutes.
I'm actually Walter Wilson. I apologize.
No worries. It's Walter, not Doug.
Yes.
I'm Frank. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. All right. Well, my name is Walter Wilson. Doug is my father, actually. And with me is our CPO. He is Clint Assini. And we want to talk to you today about the Smart Puck. Just a quick introduction about our company. We're Vertikle Enterprises and 5280 Prosthetics. And we have developed the Smart Puck. So very simply put, I think that we need to just first dive into the technology itself. So what is the Smart Puck? We handed both of you a life-size Smart Puck that you can see for yourself, but we also have a large image to my right of the actual Smart Puck product. The Smart Puck is a vacuum pump combined with smart prosthetic technology. So simply put, it is prosthetic technology. It's a small unit like you see. It is a drop-in unit. So if you were to look at the top of a prosthetic like we have on this table, you would actually see the Smart Puck down into the prosthetic, or if it's upright, it's placed at the bottom of the prosthetic. This technology actually combines the use of smartphone technology. You can use an iPod, iPad, like we have over here, which will run those smart pucks within a minute. Or you could just use your iPhone, any kind of Android that you might have. So we've actually developed an app to work with that smart puck. So as an overview, we've developed a prosthetic technology that really combines the medical industry with the very common smartphone technology that we have in America today. So I guess the next question is, why would we need something like this? Why, if people have been having to deal with amputations for centuries, why would we need a new product like this? I think the first thing that we want to recognize is that a lot of people are affected by amputations. In the United States alone, we're looking at about 25 million people who are affected by amputations in some way or form. That might be a leg amputation, an arm amputation, or something a little bit smaller like a finger or toe. But we do see a lot of people having to deal with this problem. One of the biggest problems with this is that the clinicians really depend on the patient's understanding of the medicine behind treating an amputation to actually treat the patient. So when a patient comes in, the clinician has to rely on the patient's understanding of what's going on, the data that they understand and know, so that Clint here could treat the patient well and effectively. So we want to make sure in this instance that we get the right information to the clinicians. The other issue that we see is to make a prosthetic like this, a socket, it can take a really long time. It could take up to 2 weeks for a prosthetic to get made. In the clinic that we're working with, we actually see these being made in 1 hour to 4 hours. We're using CAD and CAM technology to 3D print. In addition, we're using a simpler technology to pump these out very quickly so that we can get the product to the patient really fast. So how does the Smart Puck solve this problem, I guess, of not knowing exactly what's going on with the patient to quality patient care? In your folders, there is a really quick little overview of what the Smart Puck provides, simply because it provides so much stuff. We had to write it all down for you. We see pressure meters inside of the Smart Puck, thermometers, speedometers, cameras, GPSs, and more. This really tells us about the socket environment, what's going on inside of it. It tells us about the diagnostics of what is going inside so that our clinician can come alongside and work with the patient to provide quality care. Clint handed you each a smart puck, and we're going to go ahead and turn that on for you using this iPad and the app on it. So we've downloaded an app onto the iPad, and when he turns it on, what's going to happen is you're just going to hear a vibration noise, and that's simply the vacuum pump at work. And so what happens then is that is placed inside of these sockets, and that allows for a quality fit. Vacuum pump is the most common use right now. However, we don't see many vacuum pumps being combined with the smart puck technology. This is new. There's nothing like it on the market. We do have a utility patent on this technology, and so that is pretty big. So I would really like for Clint to go ahead and share with us, as a clinician, why he would prefer this product for his patients in comparison to some of the competitors that are on the market.
Thank you. So I'm Clint Assini. I'm a CPO. So my main practice is fitting amputees, and we use what's called elevated vacuum to help suspend a prosthesis to the amputee. So when we're looking at things, we'd have the amputee's limb. They slide their limb inside to what's called a socket. From there, we need to suspend this prosthesis onto their body somehow. And the most secure method in prosthetics today is what's called elevated vacuum, or vacuum technology. All the existing vacuum systems that are available on the market are outside of the socket, and they literally have a little pump that looks like a deck of cards, and there's a hose that is plumbed into the socket with an elbow attachment. So we find that not only does the pump leak, but the hose leaks. There's all these constant things. So that little noise that you heard is what these amputees hear all day. It runs constantly. So what we found when we developed the Smart Puck, when we put it inside the socket, it's a negative pressure pump within a negative pressure environment. The system doesn't run. So the pump may turn on once every 2-3 hours. So the efficiency is tremendously better than what's on the market. The reason for the smart technology in the system, like Walter was saying, is that we now have the ability, we give a iPod Touch with the puck to each patient. So we have a means for that prosthetic limb now to communicate with the amputee. And by that I mean not only can they control their vacuum discreetly. If they're in a movie, they can turn off the system. They can, if they're in a car, they can lower the vacuum levels. But we also have a method with increased app platforms. We have a push app system. Since we're through the iTunes store, as we update the software, when they turn on their puck and get the new app, they get more features. So this middle one you're looking at is a pedometer. We use the pedometer as a tool for wearing schedule. So when we get a new amputee, they're not allowed to wear their prosthesis for all day long. They can wear it for 1 hour. So what happens is the puck tracks how many steps they take. It'll send them a text message saying, Brad, it's time to take your limb off. You've been wearing it a little bit too long. Check your skin, do this, this, this. We also have alignment capability. We have a ton of features that we can utilize to help the prosthetist better align the prosthesis or the amputee get a better fit. And then the other, like Walter was saying, is the simplification of fabrication. When we use a drop-in system, it's much easier to fabricate the prosthesis. And with upcoming technology, which is 3D printers in our industry, you actually print out the socket. Typically, these systems now, most companies will actually make a plaster model of the person's limb, and they manufacture this over that model. So anytime a change is necessary, they have to take the leg away from the patient, fill it with plaster, and redo the whole process. With the printers, it's a digital copy in a system that we can just simply print off another socket, make the changes, make the socket tighter, looser, whatever we need to do. And we do have an agreement with Apple where we're part of their gifting program. So we do give legally an iPod Touch with every Smart Puck system. I'll hand it back.
Awesome, thank you. So with that, it is important to know that this, because each injury is different, we can use the Smart Puck in several different prosthetics, which is just this image right here. We see lots of different prosthetics being used. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into the market a little bit. That's another sheet in here for you. The market is pretty big, as I've already stated. There's a lot of people that are affected by amputations in the United States. About 1 out of every 170 people has an amputation in the United States, and that's just the United States. Worldwide, we're looking at a much larger market. This market is unfortunately growing at a 27% rate each year right now. This is due to several, environmental factors. One actually being obesity and diabetes, which is an unfortunate cause. However, we do want to be able to treat those patients as best as we can. So if we're looking at the vacuum pump suspension market solely without the smart puck technology, so we're talking about an air puck, something that's just sucking the air out of the actual socket, we're looking at a market of $22.5 million per year. So we're looking at 10,000 to 16,000 units being built by hospitals annually. You can actually see that there's a pretty small military market, which is kind of surprising. We're looking at about 200 units for the military market. And the reason for that is simply because the military doesn't have the facilities to be able to provide for all of their people. And so what happens is we see a lot of military personnel being outsourced to civilian hospitals, which accounts for those 10 to 16,000 units that we talked about in the hospitals. The next sheet that I just want to point you to is the actual budget in your folder. We base this budget off of a 10,000 unit market. So if we were to underscore that, instead of going from 10,000 to 16,000 units, we are going to just talk about a 2.5 market share right now. If each unit is sold for $1,800, these are the numbers we're looking at. In year one, we're going to be looking at about $263,000 in sales revenue gross profit. And that's our goal right now. We actually do have orders for our product because we do work in a clinic and we see people wanting this product. The product has made it into the hands of customers and they desire to have something like this on their side. So we have 50 credit card orders for this product, which is a huge deal, and we are really excited about that. We've also received calls from 7 different countries in regards to the smart puck technology. What is it? How can we get it? When is it going to be available? Unfortunately, right now it is not completely available because it's undergoing CE testing, which is the electronics testing in Broomfield. However, that will be completed very soon, and our order for smart pucks being manufactured is en route. So we are preparing ourselves to deliver this product to the customers. One of the really interesting things about finances here that I want to point out is that within the medical industry, we do have to talk about insurance. For these units, we are selling them at cash value for $1,800. They cost about right now $750 to produce. So if we're looking at that overhead, we also need to just acknowledge that insurance is going to be a part of that for a lot of individuals. If you are hurt, you are probably not going to be paying cash for this. If we can prove cause to the insurance companies, we want that to be the source of income to the clinician. So if we're going to a clinician and Clinton's selling this product to a patient, he can actually bill the insurance company for this product, which is a huge benefit to that because we're able to prove cause that the customer actually needs the smart puck in their treatment plan. And so we're really excited about the fact that we can involve the insurance companies, that we can also sell these at cash value if somebody wants to be able to do that. But both of these are really important pieces to the puzzle. Finally, I just want to talk about some of our long-term goals with this product. We've kind of talked about where we are. We're in the testing phase for the CE. We have orders. We have a manufacturing order placed already. But we do have some long-term goals with this product. We don't just want to stop here. Our goal within the next 2 to 4 years is actually to take this company to a $2.5 million gross sales company. And we show that a little bit on our outline of the budget. One of our other goals is we want to take our share from a 2.5% to a 30% share so that the customers are actually getting the best product because we're really concerned about quality patient care. So those 2 goals are kind of what we're shooting for, where we want to take this product. We do believe that it is the best product on the market for quality patient care. And so with that, we want to thank you for your time and invite you to ask any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Walter. 5280 Prosthetics. Judges, any questions?
I have a couple. One, how do you protect the intellect in this from competitors coming into the market? And then secondly, how much money do you need to make it fully funded?
Well, the actual technology is already protected. We went through the patent process, and we have a utility patent on the technology within the Smart Puck. We have several ideas that would change the Smart Puck, that would improve it, and if we do that, we will continue to proceed with further patent protecting for that product. As far as making the project fully funded, we are looking for just a capital injection into making sure that we're providing these Smart Pucks for the customers. So we've already paid for a lot of the stuff that's needed to be done, like CE testing, prototype development. Obviously, the app has gone into it. So we've done some investing into this. We've got some investors. But the primary cost right now is going to be simply getting the product from the manufacturing line to our customers. So we need to pay for our products so that we can sell them.
So my first question is, how does the cost of this device compare to one of the dumb prosthetics with the pump outside? How's their cost compared to your cost to the end user?
Very close. Most of them are somewhere in the range of $17 to $18.50. And ours comes with an iPod Touch. So that's why our cost of goods is so much higher. The actual unit itself is under $500, but we're gifting an iPod Touch. We get a discount from Apple, a small discount, but that goes with it. But it's an essential component, and it takes that smartphone. If they don't have one, if they have a smartphone, they can download the app and put it on that, and they've got a free iPod. But it gives us a tremendous amount of appeal with the consumer market.
Yep. And then where are you manufacturing today?
They're manufactured in Broomfield.
Could you sell it for more than your competitors?
Yeah, actually, that's part of what Walter was saying, is that we are the only company that has patented a computer inside the socket. So everybody else thinks outside because they don't do this drop-in style technology. So it's a huge platform for us to build upon. So we have already started some other additional things that will allow clinicians to bill for even more than what we're doing on this. So we've got a sensor system basically that'll tell you where the socket's hitting and things like that, which will allow for another $5,000 in reimbursement to clinicians.
So one other question about your technology here. So what exactly is your patent protecting? Can someone else not build a similar, that's what I guess the question is, what exactly does your patent protect?
We have a vacuum unit inside the socket protected, we have a computer inside the socket protected, and we have use of a smart device to communicate with the controller inside the socket. So kind of a trifecta.
And I just want to add to that really quick. There are very comparable prices. However, there are no other products like this on the market. So while we do have vacuum pump competitors, it is the reason it's so close in price and yet such a great deal is because there are no other products quite like this on the market.
And then I just, maybe if you could elaborate on how you plan to sell this product.
Oh, that's a great question. The actual sales plan, we want to roll this out primarily to clinicians. Initially, we're going to take it to the 4 largest trade shows for prosthetics and orthotics. However, our goal is to train clinicians on how to use the technology, and we want to distribute that way. So our goal is to develop a training program that's going to train clinicians. We're going to try to have distributors in 35 of the 50 states so that we can distribute the product through people who are actually in touch with the patients. We don't want to sell the products to people who don't understand what is actually happening to our patients.
So how much of the $1,800 do you have to give to the clinician and the distributor? What's your price to distributor?
Actually, we just landed, just yesterday, we've got 2 distributors, national distributors in the United States. And once we get the CE, we've got distributors lined up internationally. But typically a distributor discount is somewhere around 20% is what we agreed on with these distributors. But we, with that $1,850 is still a solid price. We just marked the product up. So the retail price for these through the distributors is actually 21 something. So it's still, because we have to get that $1,850 to make our numbers work right now until we get up to larger quantities.
All right, we'll open it up to questions in the audience now. Anyone have a question? And as I'm walking over here, I'm just curious what the consumer feedback has been so far. You've got some of these that you're using right now?
Yeah, tremendous. From the consumer standpoint and the clinical standpoint, just because it solves a lot of problems with the air leakage. And then, you know, technology is huge in the prosthetic industry. Everybody, every year that has a prosthesis is always looking for the next best thing.
Consumers, though, find it easy to use. It's
Yeah, that's part of the beauty of the
very
Apple. And we
adaptable.
actually had Cupertino look at that, and they just look at the simplicity of your app and just how easy is this thing to run. It's very intuitive. You know, it's simple, and the biggest thing is that you don't have to worry about leaks, and that's the biggest problem with current systems.
okay. Good. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So my question is, how long do the batteries last? Is it rechargeable?
Yeah, exactly. It's the batteries last because the pump doesn't run. The pump is the biggest draw on the electric circuit. So we inductively charge it. So when you look down inside this picture on there, at the top of the puck, there's an induction coil at the top, right just under the lid. And you just do it just like you do a ultrasonic toothbrush. You just hang that down, and we typically last 3 days on a charge. But we recommend you charge it every night. And there's a lot of prosthetic componentry, knees, feet, things like that, they all require a charge. Anything with a smart, computer in it. So.
Great. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I just have a question for kind of the consumer usability. What if the customer does not have or doesn't want to have that cell phone on them or that iPod on them constantly reminding it? What would be your differentiation there? Or do they constantly have to have that technology?
Well, there's two things. We have a different product that maybe I'll let Walter talk about, but it also has a magnetic switch. So we give them an earth magnet that goes on your keychain, and if you hold it up to the front of the puck, it'll actually, they call it a Hall switch, and you just hold the magnet to it for 2 seconds and it'll turn it on or off. And it goes into the middle mode.
The other part of that is you can use the air puck if you don't want to do the smart technology. So the smart puck is the part that's going to be utilized by the actual smart technology. So you're going to be doing a lot of stuff with the computer. You're going to be adjusting your prosthetic, getting a lot of data for your clinician. However, if you just want the air puck, we do sell that separately. So you don't need necessarily to download the app onto your cell phone to run that. Great question. Thank you.
Good. Time for another question. Yes.
I have two questions actually. One for the puck that doesn't involve smartphones. How much would that go for? And you said that this overall is a very innovative product. Do you have plans to possibly grow it or any ways to make it better as well?
Yeah, I'm actually going to speak to your second question first. As far as the innovation goes, if you do notice that all of our actual prosthetic models are below the knee models. So right now the Smart Puck is actually only for below the knee, which accounts for about 34% of all prosthetics. The reason we had to start this way is because to build a computer inside of a unit that small, we're going to have to look at some already existing computer applications. So in physics we talk about bringing those things to a smaller size and they start to not work right because of quantum mechanics. However, at this level, we can buy this stuff on the market and put it together. And so our manufacturer is able to do that. So one of the innovative things that we could do is to start to, and we do have plans to do this actually, is to bring that into a smaller model for perhaps a limb, excuse me, a limb, they're all limbs, an arm. However, we do have designs for an above-the-knee Smart Puck. And I'll let Clint talk about the air puck costs.
And the air puck is designed to be both simpler and just lower cost, so the cost on that is $495 from the clinical standpoint. And then clinicians provide some sort of an alternate vacuum source. But the air puck, once the air is evacuated, the seal on it's so good it holds all day with one air evacuation. So it's really just the design of the exterior of the puck that makes it so efficient. So, any other questions?
Any other questions? Come over here.
Will you keep your production in America?
Yes. Great question.
Greg, I'm going to bust in and take a minute here. Can we get an answer to the question of how much capital does it require for you to get to that your goal of reaching a third penetration of the market? How much total investment will you need?
For the 30% injection?
Yeah, for your, you said you had like a 3-year goal to achieve 30% of the market.
I'm not sure that we have a complete answer to that actually. But actually, I guess we could answer that just based off of the Excel sheet that we gave you. If we want to do that within 3 years. That's a long-term goal actually. So I would not presume to accomplish that within 3 years. But that is a great question.
Any other questions? Then let's give 5280 a round of applause. Thank you. Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you. Judges, we're going to let you take a quick break and do the final calculations. We are going to take just about a 2 or 3 minute break is all, and ask you to come back, and we will announce our student winners here in just a moment. We've got all those numbers tallied up, and then I'll tell you a little bit about when you can find out about the winners from the rest of the presentation. So just a 2 minute break. We'll be right back.